Malaysia has the best food in Asia. Why? Because it has the best features of all of the other countries, so it has to be the best.
Itu tadi Char
Whether it's
teow ya?
Penang.
Halo teman-teman semua, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Apa kabarnya nih teman-teman semua? Semoga sehat selalu ya, dan kembali lagi bersama aku Rizky tentunya. Kali ini kita masih mau ngelanjutin requestan dari teman-teman semua. Thank you untuk teman-teman yang sudah kirimin link requestnya ke DM Instagram aku di ysrizqiyyah. Siapa sih yang nggak pengen kalau namanya liburan gitu ya, yaitu nyarinya street food itu ya. Nah kali ini ada review dari salah satu food vlogger dari luar negara yang datang ke Malaysia. Langsung aja kita cek videonya ya.
If you
Siapa sih yang
consider
nggak suka
yourself a
street food?
foodie, you have to experience street food in Malaysia. This country might have the best street food scene in Asia, and therefore the best street food scene in the world. When you're thinking about the best cities and the best countries for street food across the world, India is definitely going to come up, whether it's Mumbai, Delhi, the south of India. China is definitely going to come up, whether it's Chengdu in the west, or Shanghai, or Hong Kong. And then the entire region of Southeast Asia, from Thailand to Vietnam to Cambodia, you think of these places as great street food spots. Well, Malaysia is right in this region, and it incorporates different factors from all of these different cultures. So you have these extremely unique dishes that you can find pretty much only in Malaysia, and it has influence from all of these different things. I once heard it put like this: Malaysia has the best food in Asia. Why? Because it has the best features of all of the other countries, so it has to be the best.
Itu tadi Char
Whether it's
teow ya?
Penang in the north, or the mega metropolis of Kuala Lumpur, or the island of Borneo, there are so many places where you can find incredible street food across the
Insya
country
Allah
of
tahun
Malaysia.
depan lah ya.
So here's my personal
lagi
list
banyak
of the
kerjaan,
top
nggak bisa
5
cuti.
street foods you
Serius.
have to try if you're visiting this awesome country. Starting off at number 5 is Saté. Now I have to admit, before I got to Malaysia, I didn't actually know that Saté came from Malaysia. I kind of assumed
Satenya
it
tuh
was
beda
from
loh, satenya
Thailand
beda.
because a lot
Di
of the
Malaysia
Thai
tuh dengan
restaurants
Indonesia
back
beda,
in the
satenya
US,
memang rasanya tuh
they
beda.
have Saté as an
Jadi,
appetizer. And who
wajib
knows,
sih
maybe there
cobain.
is a Thai version of Saté that is a little bit different.
Cita
But
rasa kita
Saté
tuh
as
agak
we
beda
know it,
memang
the
kan,
grilled
tetangga nih,
skewer of
tetangga.
chicken, it's over a beautiful charcoal grill right on the street. And then you have this incredible peanut sauce that you dip it in. That is a Malaysian dish. We had the most incredible satay when we were in Georgetown, Penang. And
Kalau
we just
orang
couldn't believe how
bule
good the
western
peanut
ya
sauce
pasti
is.
ngerasain
Usually when we get a peanut sauce with an
banget
item
gitu
like
rasanya.
that, we think of it as like a smooth, creamy sauce, and it's got great flavor.
Pasti beda. Wah,
but a
ini
lot of
beda
times
nih
it can just
makanan
come
dengan
down
negara
to
saya
basically
nih.
peanut butter and soy sauce. With the sauce that we had in Penang, there was definitely something else going on, and it actually had chunks of peanuts in it. It came on like this plate, which I also thought was awesome because you could take the satay right on the stick and just kind of roll it around in the sauce and get as much sauce as possible on the actual satay. It was incredible and definitely worthy of a spot on this list. It's always cool to see satay being made on the street too, because it always is right on that grill and you can kind of see them fanning the coals and everything. The smells come right off of it too. It's a very appetizing thing to walk past and definitely worth checking out. Moving on to number 4 on the list of street foods you have to try if you're in Malaysia is Laxa.
Laxa,
is an incredibly rich and flavorful
Untung udah pernah
noodle
nyobain
soup.
semua ya.
If you think of like a
Laksa,
ramen
tadi
or a
sate
pho, something like that, it kind of resembles that functionally, but it tastes
Rindu
a lot
dengan
different.
rasanya ya.
And there's actually
Itu
2
sudah
different,
tentu ya,
very
pasti.
distinct kinds of Laxa. Actually, there's a lot of different kinds of Laxa, but the 2 that we were able to try is the Assam
Jalan-jalan lagi
Laxa,
liburan
which
gitu.
comes more from the region of Penang. It's a very, very fishy broth that's almost made, I think it's made with mackerel, so it's almost kind of like a
kangen
French
memang ya,
stew that
Malaysia
you would
ini
think,
ya, nggak
very
tahu kenapa.
thick and fishy and flavorful. But then there's also a curry laksa that you find more in the Kuala Lumpur region. And that one's got, I think, a little bit more spice to it, but it incorporates so many different flavors. There's mint in there. There's just a lot going on. There's a prawn paste that sometimes they put in there. There's a lot of times a pretty prominent tamarind flavor, which is something we weren't even really that familiar with before getting to Malaysia. But once again, the Assam Laksa, if you're more into that fish flavor, that is gonna be the one for you. The curry Laksa, or just, you know, different types of Laksa, they usually have more of a coconut flavor, a curry flavor, and then they're usually a little bit more spicy too. But both dishes we found to be pretty spicy and just absolutely delicious. It's just so good to slurp it up with the spoon, the broth first, and then try the noodles that get so soft in that mixture. It was cool to go from north to south and see how the dish changed, but it was just absolutely incredible. We even had one in the Singapore airport before we left, because I just had to try it one more time while in the region. Definitely can't go to Malaysia without experiencing Laxa. Moving on to number 3 on the list, which I just can't wait to talk about. It actually might be my favorite, but I'm going ahead and putting it at number 3 because I just can't wait to start talking about it. Nasi kandar.
Nasi kandar.
This was one of my favorite things I tried in all of Southeast Asia.
Di sini nggak ada, serius.
Especially considering it's a pretty simple concept. It's basically just rice and cabbage, and then it can either be a chicken or fish on top, but then they just load it with this curry sauce. There's actually a few different types of curry that go on it. So it's a flavor bomb, a flavor overload, and it mixes so well with the cabbage and the rice and everything. A lot of times it comes with a boiled egg as well. And just the whole thing comes together so perfectly. It's a harmony of different flavors. I think a lot of it was originated from the Tamil spice traders that made their way through the Malacca Strait and through a lot of the areas of Malaysia. So it's definitely got more of that Indian influence than it does the Chinese influence. But it is incredible. It is so good. And probably one of the most surprising moments I had while in Malaysia, just because I didn't know exactly what to expect. It's one of those things where we completely shifted our perspective on this while we were in Asia. If you see a hawker stall or you see a food truck with a big line, it usually means that whatever they're serving is pretty dang good. I think in the past I've tried to avoid lines just because I hate waiting in line in general, but a line in Asia is usually a good sign because it usually means that this person's got a reputation, and a lot of these people, they keep coming back. So you definitely want to try a nasi kandar place. Line clear is a great one in Penang, but we want to find one where there's a line outside and you can tell that it's a popular spot. Moving on to number 2 on the list, street foods you absolutely have to try while you're in Malaysia. This is considered by a lot of people as the national dish of Malaysia. That would be nasi lemak. And you'll notice that that first word nasi is the same as nasi kandar. I'm pretty sure that just means rice. Correct me if I'm wrong because I do not speak Malay, but I think that just means rice, or at least, you know, rice dish. Nasi lemak is a coconut rice that is usually served on a banana leaf, and it includes a spicy sauce called sambal, which, by the way, sambal might just have its own little category on this video. There's things you have to try. I don't care if it's just, you know, dipping potato chips in it or something. You've got to try sambal.
Terlalu banyak lauk, bingung malah
ya. Malaysian people are probably like, what are you talking about? But it's served on a lot of different dishes, and I thought it was just so good. It's like this deep red spicy sauce. We actually stopped on our bus ride from Penang down to Kuala Lumpur. We stopped on the way and we got, I think it was just like a Chinese bun. It wasn't anything special, but it had the sambal inside it, and it was absolutely incredible. So sambal in a lot of ways is the star of the show when it comes to nasi lemak, but it's also served with crispy anchovies. I believe it's served with a boiled egg most times as well. So it's this really unique, interesting rice dish. And I keep mentioning the hawker stalls. That is a big part of Malaysian street food culture. No matter where you are in any region, you're gonna find these sections in cities where it's just completely devoted to hawker stalls. It's food trucks, it's like mini food stalls where people are kind of temporarily, but also I think they're mostly there whatever nights of the week that they operate. And that's when hunting the lines comes in handy. When you're at a hawker station and you see a long line, that person has earned that reputation by making whatever dish they're making perfectly. And I think that's a cool thing about the hawker street food culture in general. A lot of times, each individual hawker will just be serving one dish. So you know what that means. It means that they've devoted so much time and energy into figuring out the ratios of the ingredients and everything. So what you're receiving is just the best version of this dish you could possibly have. And that is why hawker street food culture in Malaysia, it's just a special, special thing. Okay, we've reached the end of the list, and I must admit it was very, very difficult to pick a favorite, but Sydney and I talked about it, and I have to say, my favorite thing I tried in Malaysia, number 1 on the list of things you have to try while you're there, is Char kway teow. There's chili sauce in there, there's soy sauce in there. A lot of times they have prawns, sometimes it's chicken, sometimes it's cockles, which is a different type of seafood. It is a perfect mixture, and the noodles, they just get so perfectly greasy. I think the best way to describe a good char kway teow is slurpy, because you're slurping up those wet noodles, and it is just
kalau belum sampai ke Malaysia harus
and in my opinion,
masak
the
sendiri
spicier the better.
Resepnya
that just
itu resepnya,
goes for all
tolong share
street
dong.
food when it comes to what I prefer. But a lot of times they'll add a lot of chili in there, and you really get a good amount of heat on your tongue. So there it is, the top 5 things you have to try if you're in Malaysia when it comes to street food. I'm obviously missing some things on this list because it is just an epicenter of delicious street food. So definitely look beyond these 5 things, but I would say these 5 things when it comes to the Saté, the Laxa, the Nasi kandar, the Nasi lemak, and the Char kway teow, you cannot miss out on any of these things. They're special, all for their own unique reasons, and they're kind of like ancient recipes that have really been perfected.
Thank you.
I think that's the coolest thing is if you order a Nasi kandar or a Nasi lemak somewhere and then you try it the next day at another place, odds are it's gonna be pretty consistent. You might notice some nuances here and there that are different, but for the most part, they found what works and they perfect it, and it is just so, so good. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out our other Malaysia videos if you haven't yet.
Thank you.
We will see you in the next video.
Okay, bye-bye.